Good evening, Malaysia, and good morning, USA. Welcome to the Gratitude Talk Show. Welcome, Rick. We have Rick here, the wonderful Rick and forever handsome Rick. Rick, please say hi to all our guests and all our audiences today.
Good evening, Asia. Good morning, USA. It's great to be back every single month, sharing ideas, collaborating, and having fun together.
Yeah, today we have got a good crowd, waiting to come in. Now we have about, 26, 27. But I'm going to get everybody, those who are watching now, if you are here watching this show, and if you think that you'll help your colleague, please do share this show. Click on that Facebook button, share, and share on your Facebook page, and share with your team so that they too can benefit from our show. So we do this every month. It's called the Gratitude Talk Show. It's between me and Rick. So why we do this is that we like to give back to the MDRT community and the insurance industry. So we do this for free. We don't earn anything out of this. I hope we do. But Facebook doesn't pay us anything. So anyway, I'm just asking you, if you want to share this, please go ahead and share with as many people as possible. Either they are in the insurance industry or they are not, it is fine. And some people will actually find some values in what we share and probably help them in their business and also help them in what they do, right? So Rick, anything you want to say before we start the show?
Sure. So this month at our firm, we did a similar online video seminar session for over 100 plus people. As Lim mentioned, the more people that show up to these sessions, I think the speakers, the content gets more exciting, right? Imagine you or us. If I was presenting in a one-person big room, I think I'd be pretty excited. But if you put me in a room with at least 10,000 people, I will make people feel like they're flying. The most people I've ever spoke to in an audience was, I think, over 30,000 people. So someone asked me, is it harder to speak in a room with 30,000 or with 300? I said, the less people it is, actually, the more difficult it is because I can't feed off that energy. So especially as we see more of you, especially as we see you comment, especially when I see you guys and gals asking great questions, I get excited. Although I'm drinking coffee, my coffee is not necessary when I feel your energy. So let's get started. As Lim mentioned, we spend over 30 days to prepare for every single month with amazing content. And one thing I can share with you, this month's content is better than last month, and next month's content is better than this month. So we should all be very excited as we start.
Thank you, Rick. Rick has put it very nicely. Yes, we spent nearly 30 days to prepare this content. So how does this work is that we're going to share our views on the topic that we're going to discuss today. And then you get to ask some questions. So all of you get to ask some questions. And please do ask questions. Don't be shy. Ask some questions. And we'll try our best to answer those questions. And a little bit of things that if you want to listen to all our podcasts and all our show, we have actually prepared them into a podcast format. So this is it. It's called the Gratitude Talk Show. Okay, I think my assistant will actually put the links inside the chat box, and you can actually go ahead. I think it's there. You can actually go ahead and actually click on it, and you will see the Gratitude Talk Show podcast on Google Podcasts and also on Apple Podcasts as well. So this podcast, you can actually catch all our show. We have done, this is the 9th show we have done through the year. And yes, then you can actually see all these podcasts broke down into 3 parts so that you can actually drive, or when you are sitting on your throne in the morning, you can actually listen to this and learn something, all right, every day. So just go ahead and like this podcast. It's called the Gratitude Talk Show. And you can even Google it, Gratitude Talk Show podcast. It will come up, all right, automatically. So go ahead and like it. Now, for all the audience out there, I can ask you for one thing. Can you give us a like or a love and share our content out, all right? Share our content out. So, I hope to see a lot of love. Yes, should have a lot of love. Right. Now, today's topic is about building the ideal clientele. A strong clientele is a base for good, guaranteed, stable production and referrals for our financial planners, right? So today we will be doing this, and this week we will discuss about the practical methods and our thoughts into building your ideal clientele. We will share with you our experience over the years in building our clients, and that brought us from MDRT to TOT to COT. Now, there is a saying, if you achieve MDRT, you'll achieve it through hard work. If you achieve COT, it's through a strong clientele. And if you achieve TOT, it's through building a system in your business. So today, we will start asking some simple questions. I'll get Rick to start off first, right? So Rick, what are your thoughts in moving from MDRT to COT and to TOT, right? Through ideal clientele's approach. What is your thought about this, Rick?
I think to move from MDRT to COT and TOT, it takes a lot of strategy, but the ideal clientele approach is actually 3 steps. Number 1, I think it's very important for the audience to understand, if you commit, for example, to MDRT, you commit to it, you need to be obsessed with that commitment, right? Today, you feel really, really good about this commitment, but how would you feel next week, next month, 6 months from now? That type of commitment level must be at the extreme highest, in a point, in a sense where you cannot forget about your commitment, okay? So number 1, it's that commitment level. Now, to be MDRT, let's just kind of reverse engineer. I don't know which country your audience is from, but let's just, in the USA, MDRT equals to $100,000 of revenue for simple math. So if I say I want to do MDRT and it equals to 100,000 of revenue, you need to condition your body to determine how many client meetings you can have on a daily basis, monthly basis, and how many lives that will equal to at the end of the year. So if I say, okay, 100,000 of US dollar MDRT revenue, and I can write 100 lives, my body is conditioned to do 100 lives physically and mentally. So there's 2 things. You have to also be physically prepared, right? Whether it's working 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, and mentally prepared, right? Having those meetings, however difficult those meetings may be, you're ready and prepared for it. So let's say it's 100 lives, and it's 100,000 of revenue. Now, if you do that math, you'll know that it's $1,000 per life, $1,000 per life. So then you just have to think about the ideal clientele. Now, from my experience, the average client we work with is about 1% of their household income. Elon Musk said that we are paid in direct proportion to the difficulties of the problems we solve. So if I meet a household income that makes $100,000 of US dollars a year, and on average, I get compensated 1%. So I will make $1,000 US dollars. Now, if I make $1,000 US dollars times the fact that I write 100 lives a year, that's $100,000 US dollars. $100,000 US dollars, then I will be MDRT. Now, when you want to go to COT, it's simple again. Now, to understand, COT is 3 times MDRT, so that's $300,000 in US dollars. If I'm still conditioned to only write 100 lives, now every problem you solve in direct proportion to the difficulty of your problems have to be $3,000. Now, if you want to go to COT and you can only write 100 lives, now you must solve 3 times the difficulty of the problems. So therefore, now the household incomes I would work with is not 100,000, it's 300,000. Now, people that are making $300,000, their problems in life may or may not be 3 times harder. May or may not be 3 times harder. So when I seen people household income making 300,000 and it's 1%, which is 3,000 times 100 lives, now I'm at COT. And finally, TOT is 6 times MDRT, which is 600,000 US dollars, right? So therefore, same math, 100 lives is all I can have physically, mentally be ready and prepared for. So therefore, I need to solve 6 times the difficulty in problems. Now, the household income has to be 600,000. I get compensated on average 1%. So that's $6,000 times 100 lives is 600,000. That's as simple as it is. Now, if you ask me, Rick, how many lives do you write? I've conditioned my body to keep on average 10 meetings a day, 50 meetings a week, 200 a month, 2,000 a year. You can ask Lim this. Lim and I were talking about 5 hours ago. I got home 5 hours ago. I slept for 4 hours, took a nice shower, and I'm ready to rock and roll. The reason why I'm able to do that is because my body's conditioned physically and mentally where I don't even need sleep. I don't need sleep because my obsession to my commitment and my goal this morning to talk to all of you is more powerful than my need to sleep a little more, So I will share this with you. At Midas Wealth, we write over 300 lives a year. 300 lives. In fact, in 2021, I think we wrote 340 lives. Now, the average client we work with, each and every time I see a family or a household, my average problem I'm solving ranges somewhere between $5,000 to $10,000. So my average household income is 500 thousand US dollars or over $1 million. So every single day, I know if I'm keeping 10 meetings and my minimum is $10,000 of revenue, 10 meetings, 10,000, right? That's very simple. But my target is 20,000. So if I work 200 days a year and my minimum is $10,000, so then I will end the year 2 million of revenue. If I work 20,000, which is my target, I will end the year at 4 million of revenue. It's actually just basic, simple math. So to hit MDRT, COT, and TOT, that's how we strategize for the ideal clientele. What about you, Lim?
Thank you, Rick. You are so energetic. You know, Jesus just say, yeah, so energetic. Right. Thank you. Now, for me, is pretty basic. This question, what is my thoughts from moving MDRT to COT to TOT? I think if you do MDRT, you could do it by sheer hard work. You can basically serve everybody, tackle every client along the way, and see everybody that you can see. But that is like doing 150 Ks, probably 200 Ks to achieve your first MDRT if you are serving the lower of the lower rank of the society. Now, it doesn't mean that it is not right. It can be right. But my question for you is, how long can you keep doing that same thing over and over and over again? So I've seen so many colleagues of mine who actually work, we have a top agent in my company. When she did MDRT that year, and she told me I write 350 cases a year. In my mind, that is mind-boggling. How do you write 350 cases a year? How many appointments you go to? How many people you see? You say, I see 6, 7 people a day. And in my heart is that, oh my God, that is not the life I want. Basically you just work 14, 15 hours a day for every day. And for sure, after the 3rd year, she burned out. This agent came from nearly double MDRT and dropped to basically nothing. On the 4th year, when I met her, she was complaining. She was banging tables on customer service. She left the business on the 5th year. And that is a shame. Why? Because nobody taught her how to move up to the next level without burning yourself out. So today, when we talk about ideal clientele, it is to help you not burning out, work less, right? And yet again, achieve triple the production. So for my thoughts in moving from MDRT to COT, MDRT can be sure hard work, but COT is about building the next level of clientele that you want. You want to write 100 cases, that's your limit. You want a good life, 2 weeks of holiday, 5 weeks of holiday, 10 weeks of holiday in a year, but you want to work in those times only. I don't want to work Saturday, Sunday. I do not want to work on public holiday. I want to take 5 weeks of holidays a week. So how do you plan that? You need a better clientele. So for me, it's very simple. If you write 200 cases to achieve MDRT this year, write 100 cases to achieve MDRT. Reverse that. How do you reverse? You need to find that clientele, that ideal clientele that can give you the same production with 100 cases. Go back and look into your biggest case that you've written. What kind of clients are they? Look into them and build that clientele. If you want to achieve from COT to TOT, it is a different story. You need to do systems, you need to hire people, you need to work on that. So we can talk about that even further, right? In even detail later on. But for this talk, from moving from MDRT to COT, it is not about hard work. Moving from MDRT to COT, it is about smart work. How do you work with 100 clients? Or you want to do 50 clients? You know, I achieved my COT with 60 lives. I did not achieve my COT in 300 lives. I achieved my COT in 60 lives. I only write 60 cases that year and achieve my COT. I want you to learn how to go from 100 cases, 200 cases to reach MDRT, reduce it to 100, and move your market up so that the same amount of business can be done in 100 cases or 60 cases. And that you will have a better life, you have more holidays, more time to spend with your family, no Saturday, Sunday, work 8 hours a day, and yet again, triple your income. So that's what I'm saying. Move your market up to that level, right? So we have questions. Miliana, thank you for those questions. We're gonna take this question after we answer all this, right? So we got question from Brandon as well. Okay, right, Brandon, we're gonna all your questions, all right?
I'm reading these questions and they're excellent. Let's answer all these questions at the end.
Yeah, I promise you, we're going to answer all these questions at the end, right? So please keep your question coming in. And if you can, break down your question. I saw some of you actually gave like 2 or 3 questions in one sentence. If you can, break down those sentences so that we can actually answer them. Because if not, if you're going to display on the screen, it's going to be so big, it's going to cover Rick's face, right? Okay. Right. So we're going to answer. Thank you, KY, for your questions. Now, the second question I have for you, Rick, is this. What is your strategy towards that goal? What is your strategy towards that goal?
Great. So as I plan for the upcoming year, normally I would say it's around December time. I don't focus in the business. I focus on the business, where I take at least 2 days to be by myself. And when I'm by myself, I visualize. My mind manifests the future. More often than not, whatever I think in my mind always comes true. So those 2 days, I strategize. Okay, so last year, I think our team did about 3 times TOT in revenue. So then I go, all right, well, this year I want to do 5 times TOT. Now, in order to do 5 times TOT, I know many of you are asking in these questions, like, Rick, how are you keeping 10 meetings a day? Let me ask you all a question. If you guys go to the gym, okay, and let's say you're normally lifting, I don't know, like a bar that's like 50 pounds per arm. How can you lift 5 pounds? So I say this, if you told me to keep 5 meetings a day, I tell you the truth, I'd be bored. It's not that I can't do it. I'm so bored. I don't know what to do. It actually, 10 meetings a day, I don't even feel any stress or physical difficulty. I think the most I've ever kept in one day is 18 meetings a day. Then I start getting a little tired. And now when I keep those 10 meetings in a day, my meetings are on average 30 minutes to 45 minutes, maybe an hour. Sometimes it's 90 minutes. So I don't know, if I keep 10 meetings back to back, 30 minutes each, that's 5 hours of work. 5 hours of work, I'm working part-time. But the point is, how I strategize for those next years is I think about the goal. Then I ask myself, on a scale of 1 through 10, 1 is the lowest level. That means I'm saying a goal for others to hear, but I really don't care about it too much. It's actually a goal for others. Or 10 is absolute obsession and commitment. Absolute obsession and commitment. If I am a 9.8, if I say I'm a 10, and if I do a 9.9 or 9.8, I disappoint my why, which is my wife and kids, my clients, my community, my talent, my expectation, my greatest version of myself. Those are all the reasons why I cannot keep less than what I usually keep. So once I commit to it, guess what I do? I publicly announce it. I tell our team, I say, hey, so last year we were a team of 8. I think now we're a team of 11. I think I hired 3 people in 3 weeks, right? So I tell our team members and I say, hey, this is what we're going to do. How do you guys feel about these numbers and these goals and this commitment? They're excited. And I say, hey, if we do this, this is what it means. So I think many of you were on the show last year. I took our entire team to Dominican Republic, them and their spouses, for a team building cultural meeting. And I told my team, this July, we do what we're supposed to do. I'll take all of you anywhere around the world. And I said, where would you want to go? They say Japan, they say Hong Kong. Actually, majority of our team said Italy, said Greece. So I said, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. So we're going to all work hard, work smart, and have fun. So we strategize, we commit, and then we publicly announce. If I publicly announce, and if any of you that know me personally, anything I say, I follow through. My words are bond. My words are gold. So that's how I strategize. What about you, Lim?
I have a very different strategy, Rick. To keep everybody understand where Rick is coming from. Rick's practice is very, very different from Asia. Rick actually does 100% of his meetings in Zoom.
Zoom.
100% of his meetings.
I don't want to interrupt, Lim. I don't want to interrupt, but pre-COVID, I used to keep 10 meetings a day in person. In person.
Yeah.
In person. But because of COVID, I asked myself and asked my team and asked our families, I cannot put any of my clients, my team members, and our families at risk. So in one single week, I transformed from 100%, maybe not 100%, 98% in person and 2% over the phone or virtual. I transformed to 100% virtual in 1 week. Now, most people say, how did you transform so quickly in a week? It was not a matter of choice. It was not a matter of choice. I sat there, I put myself, I don't care if I have to be in a closet in a dark room. I will commit to it, and no matter what, I will come out of that room and I'm ready, and I will be the final version to make sure that I'm ready for it. And I did it, and then I had our best year ever. Trying something new, commit to it, obsess with it, and training yourself to be ready for it. And that's how we did it. Back to you, Lynn.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. So that operation is quite, when I learn from you, all this, I've learned a lot from Rick. So what are my strategies from an Asia market perspective, from MDRT to COT to TOT? So how do you actually strategize towards an ideal clientele? So for me, it's very simple. You just have to really sit down in a day and really put thoughts into it. Take out your clientele, print them all out in front of you. It can be 100, 200. It doesn't matter how big or small your clientele is. You can have 300, you can have 1,000. Print out all these clientele that you have. Identify the top 20% of the client that gives you 80% of your business. The Pareto principle. The top 20% that gives you 80%. Now, I want you to take a good look at this top 20%. Strategy number 1 is take a good look at this top 20% that gives you 80% of the business. Ask yourself, what business are they in? What kind of age are they in? What kind of income are they in? Do they have families? Are you comfortable working with them? Are they people who actually respect you or what you do? So once you put this question down and answer yourself, you'll see that there is actually similarity of this top 20% clientele who gives you 80% of your businesses. So I give you an example, like for me. So I have, when I hit my COT, I have this top 20 customers that actually, top 20% customers actually came out from a industry one singular industry. And a lot of you knows that I'm actually an agent for a lot of plumbers in Malaysia. So these top 20% of clients, a lot of them are actually plumbers. They are contractors. They actually goes out and build houses and put in plumbing facilities into flats and into apartments. And I knew them from one client, and I didn't know that actually so many of them came there. But one thing I know, when I identify this group of clients as plumbers, and I'm really good at working with them, I put my heart into it. I became very good in answering their problem. I became very good in understanding their problem. And I became very attached to their industry. I tell you what, I'm the only insurance agent that is invited to a Plumber Association dinner every year. I'm the only insurance agent that can put an advertisement on the Plumbers Association magazine. I think I'm the only guy that everybody knows in the plumbing industry, from the manufacturer to the contractor, right down to the user, the distributor to the user, that they know there is this guy, Mr. Lim from AIA, that specializes in the plumbing industry. So I provided services from their general insurance, their cars, their factories, to product liability, right down to life insurance, family insurance, everything, the whole works. So whenever between plumbers, when they talk to each other about insurance matters and insurance problem, the first thing is my name came out. Hey, you should call him. This guy is really good. He understands us. You just call him and he will settle this for you. So I became very good at that sector. And trust me, there's a lot of agents who try to break into that sector, but they could not. Why? Because they couldn't understand them better than me, because I've spent years and years understanding this sector. So my second sector is that brought me from COT to TOT is the medical doctors. I needed another sector that is not so affected by economy if, let's say, something really bad happens. Because the plumbers are very, very they're very economically effective, right, by the economic cycle. If there's a crisis, they get hit. The developer get hit, they get hit. So I tried to divert. So I chose another sector, which is the medical doctors. And luckily, I married one. So my wife is a doctor. We know some doctors. I knew some doctors. And from that 4 or 5 doctors that we knew, I started networking with these people. And today, after 4 years, I would say, after 4 years working with the doctors market, today I have like probably 60 to 80 private doctors in my list now. And I somehow become a specialist also, an insurance provider, a specialist that understands the doctors market. So if you ask me, providing the ideal clientele, you must answer these 3 questions. Number 1, do you understand them naturally? You know, some of you came from industry that you know very well. So can you provide that kind of services and advice to these people? Number 2, are you comfortable working with them or not? And number 3, are they referable? Can they refer more people to you? I think if you can handle that 20% top client that you have and really work on them, you will get more of this ideal clientele for your business. And I promise you, you will work less and produce more. All right? So that's my answer, Rick.
Awesome.
That's a long answer. I promise you guys, we're going to keep our answer very short, okay? So now, the third question I'd like to ask you, Rick, how long does it take you to change your clientele and your market? You know, I understand that you didn't have your client, you know, the first day you joined, right? You nearly failed in the business when you first joined, right? So how long does it take from you to change your market and achieve, say, MDRT or COT or TOT?
Great question, but I do want to mention, I barely made it in this business. I believe an average advisor acquires 4 clients a month. My first 6 months, I acquired 4 clients total, was put on probation to be fired. And that was the best experience I had in the first 6 months of my career. I embrace fail. I embrace it. I love it. If I didn't fail as much as I did in the past, I would not be the current version as I am today. So keep asking all the questions. But the third question is, how long does it take to change your clientele and what type of market we work in? It's actually an answer that it depends, right? For some people, unfortunately, they never change. I work with some advisors that I've met that have been doing this for over 50 years. They still work with the same type of clientele. They never change their market because they're comfortable. And to be honest, when I look at them in the eyes, they're scared. They're scared. So for 50 years doing what we're doing, they never change out of that comfort zone and expand to a different market. Some people, in my humble opinion, change in 1 year. Some people change in 1 month. Some people change in 1 week, and some people can change in 1 day. In 1 day. Now, I personally think myself, I'm a 1 week guy. I'm a 1 week guy. So I could probably change my clientele in 1 week. And how long does it take for me to change in 1 week? It's actually a lot of repetition. We just received an award a few weeks ago where we're #1 in our agency territory. And what I said to people is that most advisors, most agents keep, I don't know, 4 meetings, 5 meetings a day. I keep 10 meetings a day in physical real life. And the scary truth is, I only dream about 3 things. So if you guys are my friends on Instagram or on Facebook, you'll watch that acceptance speech. I only dream about 3 things. #1, I dream about the people I love. #2, I dream about the work we do and the impact we can make. And #3, I dream about failing every single time. I only dream, most of my dreams are probably scarier for many of you. I dream about losing it all. And because I dream about losing it all, I cannot not do what I do. In fact, I probably keep more meetings in my dream when I'm sleeping than most people in real life. So I'm always training myself. I can control my dreams if I try. So to answer the question, how do I change it in 1 week? I just understand that I get bored. I get bored solving easy problems. As Elon Musk says, we are paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of the problems we solve. I get bored. I love what we do, but quite frankly, when I was a new advisor 15 years ago to today, I can't solve those problems. I can't. I could do it easily with my eyes closed and my hands tied behind my back, but it's not fun for me. It's like going to a gym and I'm used to lifting, let's say, one arm, 50 pounds. You tell me go to a gym and lift 25 pounds, I'd be bored. I'd rather not go to the gym because it's a waste of my time. So here are my 3 clientele markets. #1, the hardest problems to solve, I believe, whether it's in USA or in Asia or anywhere in the world, is business owners. I love working with business owners because it's so hard, their problems. And there's so many different types of business owners that every business owner have a different type of difficulty and problem. It's so fun. It's so fun for me because when a business owner comes to me and say, Rick, I make $10 million, I make $20 million, I make $50 million. So from the outside point of view, they're very successful. So I say, great, since you're really successful, you probably don't need me. But what are your biggest financial goals? What are some concerns of yours? What's most important for you, your family, your future today? The next 10 minutes, how can I be a potential resource of value to you if you would like me to be? And they give me one hard problem and I get excited. In fact, if their problem is really, really difficult, I get even more excited. If it's an easy problem, I say, hey, don't worry about it. I've actually solved this problem hundreds of times. Here's the answer, right? So #1 is working with business owners. #2 level, in my opinion, that's the top level. #2 level is working with high income earners, ultra high net worth. So in the USA, we have 7 tax brackets, is working with the highest income earner, highest tax brackets. And then #3 is everyone else. So when I was a new advisor 15 years ago, my average client was making $50,000 US. Today, my average client is making over $1 million US. It's because from 15 years ago to today, I'm 20 times better and I'm 20 times better at problem solving and I'm 20 times at least smarter. So that's how you commit. So as I mentioned, it takes me on average 1 week to change my market. And those are the 3 type of market. What about you, Lim?
So how long does it take me to change my market now? I'm a slow learner. I'm not like Rick, Rick can change it within a week. So I'm a slow learner. Now, okay, now do ask us some question. I can see there's a lot of question before I answer the question, right? We can see a lot of question. Do ask us all these questions. You want to send us some love, do send us some love. We ask you to share, please share it out with all your friends and your relatives or whatever, whoever that is in the business, please share with them. So now, how long does it take me to change my ideal clientele? It took me about 6 months for my first change. Now, I always vividly remember when I was a young agent, I was trying to hit my first MDRT on the third year working full time. So in that year, I've asked my boss, how could I change this? He said, upgrade your market to business owners. So that's what I did. So I spent time upgrading that. I spent time basically learning from financial magazines and books and how to think like a businessman and start approaching businessmen. Why? Because when you talk to businessmen, you cannot have an empty head here. If you have an empty head here, they wouldn't want to continue to speak to you because you add no value to them. You add no value to them. And business owners doesn't like to hang around with people who doesn't add any values to them. So you never see a businessman actually hanging out with his general worker, right, in his factory. Because those general workers, besides working for them, doesn't add value to their head. So they never have lunch with them. So for me, it's very simple. I must equip myself in my head so that I can approach business owners. So it took me 6 months, and that process is long. And yet again, the first 6 months, my sales dropped 50%. And I was not too worried. Why? Because I know I'm working towards a correct path. So what happened after that? The next 6 months, this business owner that I make friends with, that I actually start approaching, start giving me businesses. And the next 6 months gave me MDRT. So the first 6 months, I was 50%, negative 50%. But the next 6 months gave me MDRT. And it just proved one thing. When you improve your market, you improve your business. So when I took from MDRT to COT, it took a different approach. When I was MDRT, I was still selling everything, from medical cards to everything and everything. But when I did my first COT, I stopped marketing myself as a medical card insurance agent. I started marketing myself as an income replacement specialist, basically just focusing in selling life insurance and critical illness, helping businesses to create emergency funds and to create basically family saving funds. So when I did that, there's this product that came from my company during that time, which I totally took on and marketed to all my business owners. And I tell you, in that year, it took me only 4 months to hit my first MDRT. And by the end of the year, I did my COT. And it's one of the best year ever that I had. Because why? I switched a perception of being a normal agent into being a business insurance specialist. So all these customers that I saw, all these people that I saw gave me the business in the volume that you cannot imagine. Take example, I've sold policy for 100,000 premium, 120,000 premium, 80,000 premium. And that is amazing year, But yet again, when I switched, that took maybe, I think from MDRT to COT, when that switch happens, right, it took me probably a month or two to actually master that skill of going up the next level. But then again, from COT to TOT is a total different thing. It is by building a system. It is building a system when your staff works with you to create leads, to generate business, service my clients so that I can put myself in front of my clients more. The face-to-face time is the most important time that you must put yourself in front of the client, not filling up paperwork. So from COT to TOT, I hired more staff. I have 4, 5, 6 staff instead of one, to take care of the other aspect of my business so that I can actually spend more time in front of a client doing face-to-face consultation and doing advisory work. And that moves me towards the next level. So it is very important that you plan your business well and you plan your business according to all these stages. Rick, we have a lot of questions. Rick, would you want to go? I think we better go with the questions, right?
I think we're good in time. I think we have 45 minutes. Yeah, we have two more parts of this question. Let's answer the remaining parts and then let's go into these questions. How's that sound?
All right. So the next question for you, Rick. Thank you, KY. I can totally relate to you, 110%. Right? Now, the next question I want to ask you, what are the one thing that you must do to change to a better market? That one thing. Just give us one thing that you must do to change to a better market.
My first answer was smart, get smarter. I just changed it 2 seconds ago. It's commitment. Commitment. That's the answer. One answer, one thing is be committed. Because if you get smarter, but you don't follow through what all the other action items to work with a better market, game over. You will never get to a better market. But if you are committed to work with a better market, you will get smarter. You will condition your body to keep more meetings. You will do anything and everything it takes to be better at problem solving. So the answer is be committed.
Okay,
What about you?
my answer is very, very Chinaman. All right. My answer is this. You must always work with people richer than you. That's it. My question is very Chinaman. You must always work and strive to work with people that is richer than you. I've always used this analogy. My boss always tell me, if you invite your top 10 clients around for a dinner table and you're sitting inside and you look through all these top 10 clients of you, and if all of you are poorer than you, you're in big trouble. You're in big trouble. Until today, all my top 10 clients is richer than me. So that is the key. You must always work with clients that is richer than you. A lot of us are very comfortable in our own clientele. You know, it's okay, you know, I'm servicing the auntie market. It's okay, I'm servicing the uncle market. It's okay, I'm servicing the hawker market. But how come I cannot do MDRT? That's the problem, because you never upgraded your market. You never went on one stage. You are richer than your market. How could a poor guy support you to a bigger dream if you don't know anybody who is bigger than you? Right. Nobody would believe. Let me just put it this way. There's a saying, you know, people who doesn't help you will pull you down, right? Correct? Always get to know people who are richer than you so that they can help you out. They can actually push you towards the next goal. They can actually encourage you towards the next goal, because the successful people always want to see another person being more successful. So get to know people richer than you. That's my one thing if you want to change to a better market. Right?
I'm going to mind blow the audience.
Go ahead, please, Rick.
You are all richer than your clients in different ways. That's my answer to you. So I think most people, normal people, when they think of rich and wealth, they get confused. But what is being rich? That's a question. That's a word that was human, man, woman created. Rich, right? So at the end of the day, I might or I might not have more monetary than someone else, but I have happiness. That's being rich. I have love. That's being rich. I have financial independence. I have time independence. There are many ways of you being rich, not just by monetary. Not just by monetary. I think when I was a new advisor, like you just said, Lim, most of my clients probably had more monetary success than me. I work with over 1,200 families. I don't show this, and I know this is on Facebook Live. Only 1% of my clients actually have more monetary money than me. 99% of my clients don't. They don't. They don't. That's a fact if I really want to show it to them. But I would say 100% of my clients that work with me, they believe, even though I don't have as much monetary, that 1% I don't have more monetary than them, they still come to me for advice. How can they come to someone with less monetary than them for advice? Is because I am rich in else places that they are not. So I want you to think, boom, we can provide value. Like some of you new advisors, if I was in Asia today, and let's say I have a certain amount of net worth, you might say, well, Rick looks like this, drives like this, whatever like this. But what if you had 6 kids and I only have 3 kids and I want to have 6 kids? Can't you provide me value, advice, you are richer than me at home. All right. So those are things that you have to understand. It doesn't matter how many zeros we have at the bank. It matters what we have inside. All right, let's go to question 5, shall we?
Let's go to question 5. So, any
And then
advice
we're
for
going to
new
answer all
agents,
the
Rick?
viewers' questions.
Yeah. Any advice for new agents, Rick? For new agents, when they start off, should they be focusing on our ideal clientele as well?
Sure. So I'm going to keep this simple. So Lim and I have time at the end to answer all your personal questions. That's why all of you that committed time tonight in Asia or this morning in the USA will get your personal questions answered. Now, just simply advice, and this is very difficult. This is not like level 1, 2, 3. This is like mastery level. So I tell many of the advisors that I coach around the country and around the world to do these 2 things, and they can't do it. And the answer is simple. Number 1, do not have scarcity. It's about controlling your mind. Can I ask all of you that are watching today, how difficult physically is our work? Not difficult at all. I just sit in this office with air condition or with heat, have whatever drink and food I want, and I just sit here talking for 10, 12, as many hours I want. And if I don't want to work anymore, I shut off my laptop, I go outside and play with my kids. Not difficult physically at all. It's mentally very difficult. It's mentally difficult because we solve so many problems for people that we meet. So, number 1, for many new advisors, you cannot have a scarcity mentality. Cannot be scarcity mentality. Instead, it's about being abundant. Instead, it's about thinking that the world is not half glass empty, it's half glass full. In fact, my glass is so full that I can fill in the glasses of everyone in the world. So number 1, do not have scarcity mentality. And number 2, do not have greed. Instead, be generous and be generosity. So scarcity, the opposite of scarcity is abundance. I don't want you being scarcity, like, oh my God, Rick, I have 3 meetings today. Oh no, 2 of them canceled, only have 1 meeting. That's scarcity. You have 3 meetings today. How can you start the day and have 10, 20 meetings? If I started the day with 3 meetings, I can guarantee you within an hour, I can have 10 meetings on because I don't have scarcity. I have abundance. And number 2, do not have greed. Instead, be generous. The reason why I talk this way, act this way, people always ask me, Rick, how can you carry yourself? How can you have so much energy? Because mentally, I already have enough. I don't need any more. I don't need any more in this world. My heart is full. My life is full. And everything I do is pursuit of my passion. I don't have a number I'm chasing. Instead, all I'm chasing every single day is my passion to be the best version I can be. I used to want to be number 1 in the world. I used to want to be number 1 in the region. Then I said, I'll be number 1 in the country. And then when I became number 1 in the country, I said, I want to be number 1 in the world. You know what my goal is? I'm going to change this world. I want to change this world. That's even better. So what about you, Lim?
All right. I don't know how to answer after you answer that, Rick. So advice for new agents, right? So the advice for new agents, if you ask me, sorry, I'm going to be a little bit more down to earth. Now, for advice for new agent, when you start off, I think it's crucial that you have your ideal clientele the first day that you want to start with. Because why? You want to belong in the business. You doesn't want to come in here and do it for 2 years and fail. So while you're doing this, right, you want to enjoy that life that you have, that career that you have, and you want to love the work that you have. So if you're not going to enjoy the clients that you work with, then do not. Choose an ideal clientele that you can comfortable with. Let me just give you an example. Now, if you're a girl, you're a lady agent, you're 25 years old, 26 years old, you are bad at drinking, you're bad at socializing. Why are you working with a bunch of contractors who socialize, drink, and every other networking party is actually in a bar? and you're not comfortable doing it. So don't force yourself. Why? Because there are still a lot of people who are like you who actually needs insurance advice, financial advice. So work with the market that you need. I have a lady agent who came and saw me and said, Renan, I find it hard to break into this market. I said, of course you're going to find it hard to break into this market because you are not suitable for the market. You can't behave like those guys, you can't go into where they go. And so why force yourself? So you should have, and I told this lady, you should have worked with the wives of the market that you want to go with, not with the men. You should be working on the wives, And mind you, at the end of the day, the wives might be the financial controller of the family, right? So do something that work with a group of clients that you love. Why? Because at the end of the day, in the long run, you will enjoy this life. You will enjoy this career and you will enjoy this work that you're doing with. So don't force yourself into a market that you can't do, but work on the same market, but work on the more successful ones and move that on. So what I'm saying is this. It's not that you cannot work. Take example, the contractor. There is the super rich contractor from developer right down to the main contractor to the subcontractor, and you have the general workers, right? I'm not saying that if you're comfortable with general workers, just work with general. No. What I'm saying that you can work through that rank up, but within the same industry, within that group of people that you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable with lawyers and accountants, then work with lawyers and accountants. Start with the normal accountants that work as a staff and work with business owners who are accountants and work with big firms, and all that. And you can actually move yourself up, but still within the ideal clientele that you are comfortable working with, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. As a new agent, find your ideal clientele, where you're good at, and work on those clientele, right? So we finished our question, Rick, right? You
Awesome.
have a lot of fan, Rick, Brandon, all right? So let's answer some of the questions that they have for us. So we still have half an hour. We still got some time. But I want you to plenty of time. So we would like you to keep all the questions coming. So the first question, let's get the simple question out first, okay?
Sure.
Well, this question is for you, Brandon. Rick. Brandon asks, how can we get that kind of energy? The kind of energy that you're exerting, Rick. How can you get that kind of energy?
Brandon, that's a great question. People always ask me, and sometimes I don't even know if I know the answer or not know the answer. But I always start my day with something that's really challenging. So I love to work out. I love to work out. I actually, if you meet me 10 years ago, I hate to work out. So I think studies show that if you exercise and work out, it creates endorphins in your bodies that make you a certain type of energy level. Now you have to understand, I did a presentation similar to this. Brandon, if you and I walk into a room with 20 people at 8 a.m. in the morning, what is similar? We all woke up, we all, hopefully brush our teeth, got dressed, maybe had breakfast. Some of us did, and some of us didn't. But it's our energy. But what if you were the only one that woke up at 5 a.m. and you ran 5 miles or you biked 10 miles like I did this morning? When I walk into that room, my energy is different. I can walk into a room and whatever reason, I can sense people's energy just by the way they stand, the way they breathe, the way they look. Whether they had a good morning or a bad morning, I can sense it because you know what? I've had way too many meetings in my life. I've had over 25,000 meetings, encounters, right? To a point where like almost you can visually, you can sensually hear the way someone breathes, and you can almost say, oh man, this person have negative energy. Let me walk away, right? Have you ever walked into a room and you see someone and you kind of sense they're in a negative energy? You walk away, right? You hear them talk, you hear them breathe, you walk away, right? But when you walk into a room and you sense positivity, you sense excitement, and those are the people you should gravitate towards. So I love to exercise in the morning, and every morning I see my family, my why, right? And my purpose is to pursue the greatest version of myself, the greatest version of myself. So there are many reasons why I have this type level of energy. And also back to an earlier question, I think some of you are asking this question. You have to change. Like I'm so different 10 years ago compared to I am today. 10 years ago, before I met my wife, one of the things I love, and I know I'm saying this on Facebook Live, I love to eat instant noodles. Gong zai mein for the Cantonese or people from Hong Kong, ramen. I used to love it. I used to eat 2, 3, 4 bags a day. And I used to think that was really good food. If I told you my upbringing when I was a young boy, I used to put cheese in the microwave because my parents worked so hard. They forget to put food at home. I put cheese, that's all I found in our fridge, in a microwave, and it came out, and I squirt ketchup on it, and I ate it, and closed my eyes, and I dreamt it was pizza, right? That's my upbringing. But I'll share this with you. You know how I don't eat gong zai mein or instant noodles anymore? Because I told my mind that if I eat instant noodles, I will die a day early. I will die a day early. For many of you that eat instant noodle, do you know if it's healthy for you or not healthy for you? It's not healthy for you. It's not. So therefore, how do I have this level of energy? Number one, I exercise. Number two, I eat very, very clean, healthy food. Very clean, healthy food. Just like many successful CEOs, they have nutritionists, they have personal trainers, they have all these different things. Our body is our temple, right? Do not eat processed food. Do not eat processed food. Like I go on all these trips, and when I see potato chips, I used to love it. When I see soda, I used to love it. I cannot eat and drink any of those anymore because my body is conditioned where I eat it, I get sick now. But because I'm so conditioned to be a certain way, if I could just live an hour longer than I normally would have, I can make a bigger impact. I can spend it with my wife and kids. So therefore, I exercise so I can live at least a day longer. I eat good, clean, healthy food so I can live at least a day longer. So that's my answer to you.
Exercise and eat healthy food, right? Right. So we have Esther. Esther is back, I think after dinner or something. Hi, Esther. How are you doing? So let's get on with all the questions that we have today. So Hazel is asking, now how do you get oneself to hang around with richer people if you don't usually mix with them? Rick, you have an answer, or let me just go first. So how
You
do
go
you
first.
actually? Yeah, sure. Now, how do you actually hang out with people who is richer than you if you don't usually mix with them? So what I do is that I normally invite myself to networking sessions. So if you know that these clients, this is the business that you want to, and you want to know more of the same kind, what I do is that I invite myself. If you would have one or two clients from that sector, so normally I'll ask is that, hey, say Rick, I understand the plumbers might have some dinners or something every now and then, and you get to mix with other contractors or developers. Can I come and join? And by asking enough, some will say, yeah, why not? Just come and join tonight. We are having a drink over this place. You can come and join. So from there, I can actually get to know somebody. I can get to know the developer and all. So one of the incident that I had is that I just opened my mouth and asked one of my clients, can I come and join one of your networking, with your developer? He said, you're most welcome. Please come tonight. We are having a drink here. So I went, I get to know a developer, and today the developer is my client, and we are doing a lot of projects and all this for them. So what I'm asking you is this: have the courage to actually open up your mouth and ask to be invited to all these things. You don't have to have, you doesn't need to have rocket science, to invent a magical phrase. Just ask, So when you ask enough, 2 or 3 or 5, somebody will invite you to one of these dinner or lunches, and you get to meet some of them, give out cards, or what Rick tells me, don't give out cards and act very successful. That can be something, right? So, well, you can share with them, Rick, how do you do it, right, in networking. So that is my way of getting in to a higher level of clientele. Ask, and you shall receive. Rick, go ahead.
This is why this show is so amazing. And for many of you in Asia, I know it's late at night. I love this. And I tell you why I love this, because my answer is completely opposite from Lim. So some of you are just like Lim, some of you are like me, or some of you are in between. You guys can learn so much. So how do I work with people that are richer than me? I don't ask. I don't ask. I'm just a little different. So I'll give you a great example. I want all of you that are watching today, forget about we're an advisor, an agent, or we're in finance or whatever we are doing. Pretending we're all plastic surgeons. I'm a plastic surgeon right out of medical school. Do I go to mixers? Do I go networking events and say, who's rich? Who wants to get plastic surgery done by me, a new plastic surgeon? You know what I do? I think the plastic surgeon that works with people, a plastic surgeon, I think, because I work with a lot of plastic surgeons, when they start, they're going to work with everyone and anyone. But when they do such good work, their work speaks for themselves. And then if they help one person, that one person is like, oh my God, I just got this procedure done by this plastic surgeon. They start telling their friends and family because you change their life. If you meet someone and you change their life, they can't help but always tell people about how great of a person you are and change their life. So that one person that you change their life, then start telling it to 5 people, and that 5 people, then you change 5 people's life. Start telling 10, then 20, then 100, then 1,000. And as they start telling more and more, automatically the people that you start meeting are going to be higher. So in my humble opinion, if you're a new plastic surgeon, I know we're not plastic surgeons, just do such good work, immaculate work, obsessive work, where I know there's nothing such as perfect, but be as close to perfection as possible. That when you change someone's life, they're just going to nonstop talk about you. Then guess what? They're going to keep talking about you. Then one day you're going to have a line outside your door, outside your office, and you actually have to turn people away. So that's how I work with people. I work with people because the work I do is that good, or in my humble opinion, we try to be the best we can possibly be. And that's how I don't really network with people. In fact, like Lim said, I just stay home. I just stay home all the time. How do some of the most successful people work with us? Because they heard from other successful people and other successful people say, hey, you need to meet this guy, Rick. And one thing that's unique about Rick, he is straightforward, direct. He'll tell you like it is. And if you're a good fit, he'll work with you. If you're not a good fit, he'll say, bye, we'll never see each other in our lifetime again. Is that fair? That's it.
Great, Rick. I think there's another question I'd like you to answer. Brandon asked, how do you start invite yourself into groups of clientele that we want to target? Rick, you have an answer for that?
Great. So if I were to work with, let's say, ultra high net worth people, now I just told everyone on the show that I actually don't invite myself to networking events. I don't do any of that. But you know what I do that's pretty different? I donate to charities and nonprofits. I do donate to charities and nonprofits. So like recently, I donated an amount that was so large that a nonprofit or a charity say, hey, who are you? And I said, oh, my name is Rick. They're like, no, what do you do? Why did you donate to our nonprofit and charity? I said, well, because I read about your nonprofit, your charity, and I believe in your values. I believe in your mission, and I believe in your purpose. So I just want to donate. And they're like, well, this number is a very sizable number. And I said, well, compared to the type of work you do, this number means nothing to me. So thank you. And they're like, come to our organization, come to our meetings, come join our board. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't come to your meetings. I can't join your board because honestly, I don't have enough time in the day. I'd rather be my wife and kids. But please take this charitable donation and do good work. And then I get invited to things that I don't even know who these people are. I recently got invited to an organization that they only have Ivy League graduates. So Ivy League is like the top colleges and university in the United States. They're like, Rick, I want you to join. It's like, what school do you went to? I went to a state college. And they're like, I'm surprised you went to a state college. And I tell them, I think it doesn't matter if we went to Ivy League, state college, or any school. It matters who we are in the heart. So I guess to work with successful people, you have to do things that successful people would normally do. Be generous and not greedy. Be abundant and not scarce. So that's my answer.
Great answer, Rick. I should do that as well. I mean, donation is one way, yeah, okay. For younger agents, how do they do that? Sometimes I wonder. But yet again, I think those are very, very good advice. Now, if you're already in the business for some time, working in the business for some time, and you do have money, and I know one of the MDRT, Esther actually does a lot of charity work as well. Thank you, Esther. You do a lot of charity work as well. So now, next question we have. Let me just, Miliana is waiting for us to answer, but her question is in like 5 different. Let me just show you. Wow. It's like 5 different. So let us just break down your question, Miliana, so that we can actually do this properly. Okay. Now, okay, Rick. She's answering. She's asking. Could you please share with us how do you do your daily activities for 10 appointments per day? Let's just break this down. Yeah.
You ready, Miliana? I'm going to say this quickly but slowly and detailed. So how I keep 10 appointments per day is our team of 10 helps me schedule those meetings. We have a lot of existing clients. In fact, we have over 1,000 existing clients. And on average, every year, we onboard an addition 100 to 300 new families. So I have a very big team. And the team I work with, and I hire these amazing men and women. And I always talk about them behind their back in a good way. They're all smarter than me. They're all better than me. And in my humble opinion, as a leader, if you have to be in an organization as a leader, you have a cult. If you don't have to be in your organization and the organization thrives, succeeds, and help and impact, you have a culture. You have a culture. My team don't need me. I'm the least valuable person on my team, even though I'm the founder of the company. So they help me with scheduling my meetings, whether existing clients or new clients. And are you working from morning till late at night? Absolutely not. If you actually read my book or heard my story, at 32 years old, I used to work really, really hard where I had an ulcer and I coughed blood. Why would you do that? In fact, the only reason why I did that because I was taught by my Asian parents from Eastern that came from China, just like work hard, work hard, work hard. And then at 32 years old, I almost coughed blood and died. And my wife was going to divorce me after being 6 months pregnant. I say this all the time. My parents unconsciously coached me to probably die young. Unconsciously, they coached me to have my wife divorce me because all I was doing was working hard 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. So how many hours I work? I probably work somewhere between 8 to 10 hours a day, maybe 40 to 50 hours a week, Monday through Friday. No, I don't work nights. No, I really don't work weekends. Do not work weekends because I only spend time with my wife and kids. In fact, if a client wants to see me on a weekend, I respectfully decline. I said, if you can't see me on a weekday, that's okay. I just may or may not be the right advisor for you. Imagine you had to see your doctor and they said, no, I can't work on this hours. You're like, no, show up. No, because with all due respect, people are reasonable. Successful people are reasonable. If they're reasonable and we're reasonable, we're going to work together and we're going to find a mutual hour. If they're unreasonable and you're reasonable, don't work with them. Don't work with them. Think about it. I tell people this all the time. Last year, we helped 300 lives. We wrote 300 lives. Let's say I do this for 30 years. And in fact, I will not do this for 30 years. But let's say I do this for 30 more years. I'm 37 years old this year. So 30 years, I worked at 67. No way. I helped 300 families, 30 years. I helped 9,000 people, 9,000 lives. 9,000 lives in New York City alone, there's 10 million people on average. 1% of 10 million is what? 1% of 10 million is 100,000. That means 0.1% of New York City is all I can help in my lifetime. Why do I need to have scarcity mentality? If they are unreasonable with the amount of hours I should see them, I say, thank you, but I respectfully decline. I wish you all the very best. Take care, right? So no, I don't work that many hours. I just work normally, I guess like 8 or 9 a.m. to like 5 or 6 p.m. Are you working morning? No. How do you get 10 appointments per day? I don't know. My team helps me book those meetings. Once again, I have 1,000 families and we get unsolicited referrals. I do not ask for referrals. I know I did an MDRT session where I taught the group about referrals, about center of influences. But once you get to the mastery level, you don't have to ask anymore. And are you having staff to help you arrange your appointments? The answer, I don't call my teammates staff. I never do, because I believe certain words cannot come out of a person's mouth. I call them teammates. I call them my colleagues, because they could fire me tomorrow. They can leave and go work for Lim. They can work for you, Miliana, and they don't have to work with me. So I treat them better than I tell them. I actually treat my teammates probably better than I treat myself. That is the truth. But so what is my mental focus? I coach advisors around the country, and this is a truth. I charge $2,000 US dollars an hour. 2,000 US dollars an hour. I do not do anything that's less than 2,000 US dollars per hour. The reason why I don't want to do it is because at my skill level and my talent, I shouldn't. Should a brain surgeon take out a splinter from a hand that a nurse can do? The answer is no. I used to say yes. But if I was the most expensive brain surgeon in the world, and I took out a splinter that a nurse can do, that person would thank me. But when I give them my $10,000 bill, they will actually hate me. So that's the answer. So I don't do anything that's less than 2,000 US dollars an hour. But I do want to mention to you, I think in November of last year, I spent half my day speaking to an elementary school and a middle school. You're like, Rick, but that's not $2,000 an hour. It's worth more than $2,000 an hour in my heart. Whether it's $2,000 an hour monetary, or it's $2,000 an hour intellectually, or $2,000 an hour personally, spiritually. So if it's not, I won't do it. So that's my answer.
Thank you, Rick. I can hear your children crying.
Yeah, I have my beautiful wife, who's the CEO, the real CEO, and I have my two nannies. So the kids are in better hands. I go out there, I'll create more chaos. So I'm better to be in this room.
Yeah. So, well, I have 4 kids myself. Milena said thank you. Group of team in our business. Yeah. So this is something that I'm learning. To actually work on. To have a team. You have 10, right? I have 5 in my team. I'm actually working on that. Too. But I don't have 10 appointments a day. The Asian market is slightly different. We still do have to go and see our clients. In America, people come to your office, right, Rick, when you're seeing face to face? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I promise you all, if one day my wife says I want to move to Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, China, name the country, I will go to Asia in 1 year and bet against me. I will hit TOT without going to see one person in person. I guarantee it. Because you know why? If you tell me that's the hardest problem in Asia, I will teach you how to solve it. I already solved it in my mind. Think about it. If we were all Lei Ka-shing, we were all Jack Ma, name the richest or most successful people in your country. Do you think that person, if Lim, I don't know who's the most successful person in Malaysia. If that most successful person or the most talented or the best problem solver in Malaysia said, Lim, I will see you, but I cannot see you in person. I can only see you virtually. Would you be willing to see me for 10 minutes? I will see them. I used to think people need to see me physically, but no. As long as I go virtually and I'm that impressive that they don't have to see me physically. I recently went up against a celebrity advisor one-on-one competition. When this person saw my client and me and the competition in the room, guess what? This person was in a very, very expensive, beautiful suit, dress shirt, and tie. Very, very, in his world, successful. And I came looking like this. And the client was his client. And then when he saw me, he did this. The first 10 seconds, he went like that. And then I was like, oh. And then the client asked us both a question. The client was interviewing him, the existing advisor, versus me. And then the other advisor, answered in a very, very confident, possibly arrogant way. Now, you have to understand, if that person is wearing a 3,000 US dollar suit with a nice dress shirt and a tie and beautiful hair, and I look like this, most likely I gave that person an advantage. I don't look that impressive, but the words come out of my mouth better be 10 times more impressive than the words that come out of their mouth. And in case you're wondering, that client became my client, not that person's client. Because I could dress like anything I want. Well, obviously in a professional, business, casual, reasonable way. But if the words that come out of my mouth, the value I bring and deliver, the things I can educate when it comes to financial literacy is more impressive than how the other person looks, I win. And that's my strong, true belief. So it doesn't matter if you have to see someone in person or not. You see someone in virtual. Let's say hypothetically, I see someone in person, but Lim sees that same person virtual. But Lim is so powerful, that person will work with Lim over me. I believe that.
So my question
My
for
humble.
you, Rick, now give us a simple 3 steps. How do you actually look impressive on virtual? How do you
I
actually bring that feeling of being impressive virtually?
Okay. So before I meet with a client, if I was introduced, Lim, to your best friend, I would go, Lim, I'm happy to meet your best friend. In fact, when I meet your best friend, in that 10 minutes, that 5 minutes, and that 1 hour, my goal is to provide value, such tremendous value that I will change his or her life. Now, before I meet this person, can you tell me a little bit about this person? And they probably tell me this person is a business owner, this person is a high net worth person, this person makes high income, this person is married, this person has kids, this person travels around the country, they work long hours, they work short hours, they're in a high tax bracket, they're from this country, they're from this religion, they have this belief. As they're saying this, I'm writing all down. And then my mind becomes that person. So I already studied that person. And when I meet that person in that 10 minutes, I do dress like this 99% of my meetings ever since COVID, 99% of my meetings ever since COVID. But when I meet that person, I already know what problems they have. And in that 10 minutes, I explained to them, I said, you probably don't have work-life balance. Is that true? Like, yeah. And then I spend time educating them about work-life alignment and having synergy. So the simple answer to many of your questions is when I meet someone, before I even meet them, I already had the meeting with them 10 times in my head. And I already know. Because you're like, Rick, how can you meet someone before you meet someone, have that meeting in your head? Because that person's profile, believe it or not, because I've had over 25,000 meetings in my lifetime, they are similar or they resemble probably 100 other people who I've already met, and I already know what their challenges, their goals, their obstacles, their questions are. So oftentimes when I meet someone for the first time, they're like, how do you know this is my life? How do you know these are the problems I have? How do you know these are the solutions I should? I said, honestly, is because I have 100+ other clients that are going through the same thing you went through, and half of them failed because they took this direction. Half of them succeeded because they took this direction. All I'm going to tell you is you're right now in front of a fork road. You can take left or right. Now, the direction you're going to take is going to change your life. And because I've shared stories or I've learned and I've spoken and I listened to so many of my other clients, I already know which direction has a higher probability of success. And here's why. So it's understanding your audience. And then when you meet them, deliver tremendous value.
So what you do is actually you really go deep in understanding the clients before you meet them. Where do you actually
Yeah.
get those information from, Rick?
From the person that introduced me to that person. So an existing client, I don't ask for referrals. My clients refer me people without even me asking. They're like, hey, speak to this plastic surgeon. Okay, I'll be happy to speak with this plastic surgeon in front of yours. But before I do, would you mind spending 30 seconds telling me a little bit about this person so that when I meet this person virtually, that he or she is not surprised, nor am I surprised, and we can both have an eventful conversation. Tell me more. And then they'll tell me.
Right. So that is a way to actually get through that. Thanks. So Miliana has a question. Now, it says, Rick, could you please share with us job distribution among 10 teammates? Before Rick answer, I'll try to answer this question. I have 5 staff with me. So for me, I mean, Miliana, before you go to Rick's level, maybe you want to look at my level, right?
No, we're all the same level. In fact, Lim, you're a higher level than me. There's so many things I can learn from you, and I respect and admire you so much.
So, right. So, what are the staffs that I have in my agency? I have in my team, I have a office manager that handles all claims and all office-related matters. I have a general insurance manager that handles all my general insurance business. I don't paper handle any general insurance like car insurance, fire insurance, and all this property insurance that comes through the phone. My general insurance lady who actually handles all of them, including claims and everything. Then I have a third one. A third one is what I call a new business manager. This new business manager handles all my underwriting, all my negotiation with underwriters, bringing the clients to see medical advisors, medical checkups and all that. So what I do is that I meet my clients. Once the deal is done, then I pass it to my new business manager, and she'll get it captured into get it enforced. You know, you need to do medicals and all that. So she handles all this work. the work after those. Okay. Then I have a staff that handles customer advisory. So this staff actually set up appointments for me. They will call clients. She will call clients. She will update clients with policy reviews yearly. She will call them up during their birthday, send them a cake, this and that. So this is a customer advisory staffs. So she will set up a meeting between me and my clients when there is a what we call this. When there's a need to meet the client online or offline, and she handles all my new business proposals. Means I'll give a verbal instruction on what to do with the client's proposal, and she prepares all the paperwork for me and get it in front of me before I meet the client. So the last guy I have is actually a media manager that handles all this that you can see, all the media stuff, all the shows and all that. So he handles all my Facebook posting, videos, all the podcasts, everything. So these are my 5 staff. So maybe that gives you an insight, Miliana, into how this is done. And I'm planning to hire more staff actually. If I want to go 3-5 times I'm TOT, I need to have more staff to help me. I need to learn from Rick. Rick, can you please go ahead? How do you do it?
Great question, Miliana. So instead of telling you what they do, I'll tell you what I don't do. Okay, and I'll tell you what I do. Because whatever I do means I don't do everything else, and everything else is my 10 other really, really talented teammates. So my 10 talented teammates do exactly what Lim just mentioned, but here's all I do. Every day, I have somewhere between 10 to 15 meetings on my calendar. Some of them range for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, or even 2 hours. And all I do is see people, and then that's it. I see people virtually. It's either an initial call, 10, 15 minutes to determine if we should even have a deep dive conversation. And then if we do have a deep dive conversation, the next meeting is 30 minutes, maybe an hour. And then during that deep dive conversation, I ask them what are their goals, their concerns, what's most important to them. I ask them about their financials. I ask them about their profiles. I ask them about their risk tolerance, their suitability. I ask them everything you can possibly imagine. And then my next type of meeting is a recommendation meeting. That's normally 60 minutes, 90 minutes, sometimes even 2 hours if the problem is extremely complex. And that's it. Those are only things. I actually do not have lunch on my calendar. I don't need lunch. People are like, are you doing intermittent fasting? I've been doing intermittent fasting without it being called intermittent fasting probably the last 14 years. Why? Because the first year I sucked in this business. So I only saw like one person a day. But I don't know what intermittent fasting is, but I just have coffee, water, and then at night I enjoy a beautiful dinner with my family. So yeah, I have like 10 to 15 meetings per day. They're back to back to back to back. The one thing that is my absolute pet peeve is when a client shows up late. When a client shows up late, especially my earlier meetings, they're 5 or 10 or 15 minutes late. It actually creates a domino effect. And then my last client meeting, who's like at 5 o'clock at night or 5:30 at night, I'm like 15 minutes late. I'm really, really sorry. My apologies. The reason why I'm behind is because my first client showed up 5-10 minutes late. Then boom, 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 we create a domino effect. But I'm always just sitting here. The only times I actually just leave the room is I just use the restroom. But aside from that, that's my schedule. So yeah, I don't do anything, paperwork, phone calls, emails. I really can't do it because if you're a plastic surgeon and you're doing 10 surgeries a day, how can you actually do anything else besides those surgeries? That's my answer.
Yeah, you know what? I always is amazed by how this guy think. Thank you, Rick. I learned a lot, and how do you actually do that level of work? And it is all determination, whether you want or not.
And I'll share this with you all, which is really important. When I was a new advisor, especially my parents raised me, I think, and I truly mean this on this show, I'm going to share with you 2 important points. To be an Asian advisor is very difficult to be in our industry because of our social environment and upbringing. Now, to be an Asian client is also very difficult because most of us come from a conservative background nature and a lack of trust type of mentality. Now, when I was a new advisor and my parents told me, like, be likable, make sure everyone like you. I used to be like that. I used to come into the office. I would say hi to everyone. I would have good conversations. And guess what? I would probably spend 3, 5, 10 hours talking to people about their spouses, their kids, their vacations, what they watch on TV. And guess what? I only keep one meeting a day. Now today, I'm not. I don't really care if I'm likable or not likable. I remember there's a coworker in my office. He's my groomsman. He come by my office. Say, hey, Rick, hey, do you have a few minutes? Can we talk? I have a question. I want to share with you something about the vacation that we're going on. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you. He probably thinks I'm a jerk, but I say, during my work hours, those are golden hours. I have to go help people. Like, no, I'm sorry. I can talk to you at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, or I could talk to you at 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Because during those hours, I have to go to what I do best, and that's teach and help people. So I don't. So like even my closest friends at work, I don't talk to them. So for many of you, if you're at work and you're talking about sports, you're talking about what you ate for dinner, you're talking about your vacation, then that's the reason why. You need to focus.
To all the audience out there, just a disclaimer. You can learn as much as possible from Rick, but if you can't be Rick, don't be sad.
Oh,
it's not easy to be Rick.
All of you are better than me. I got 4 clients in 6 months. Someone in my company called me a loser, and I'll never forget when I was first 6 months. I cried in my cubicle my first 6 months because you know why? I thought to myself, I'm not good enough. And the best thing ever happened to me was when I went home and I told my parents, Dad, Mom, I'm on probation. They're going to fire me. And I was hoping for one single words of motivation. Like my dad and mom said, son, you can do it. Don't let them say those words. Don't give up. Have hope. You know what they say to me? They said, son, quit. It's too hard for you. And that was the best thing they said in my whole life. Because the truth of the matter is my parents put me in a bubble. They don't even believe I could do it. So then I said, okay, I have 30-day probation. I'm going to change everyone's mindset.
I have a very different answer for you. When I was struggling in the business and can't bring allowance back to my parents, you know, Asian, we always give money back to our parents. When I told my mother told me, well, you should just quit and go and work in the pharmaceutical company you resigned from. So anyway, but my father told me this. It's okay. You can stop giving me money for 6 months to a year. It's okay. We don't need your money. Work on it. You'll be successful in what you do. So I'm still very grateful to my father, you know, until today. And because he gave me that break for 6 months and couldn't give an allowance to them. But after 6 months, I continued to give them allowance, and I came back to give them a credit card that my father holds until the day he dies. And I can say I have been taking care of my parents very, very well. My mother now lives with me, and she's 80 years old. So, you know, yes, different parents, different upbringing. Yeah. So that's all the time we have. It's 10 o'clock. Rick, time flies. Okay? So some of we can't be Rick, but we can learn from Rick. Yes, of course. You know, everybody wants to be you. All right?
Remember this. People that are nice to you, always be kind and always be happy and treat them well. The people that are not nice to you, be extra kind to them. I remember recently I went to a restaurant where I did not have too good of an experience, and they were actually not nice to me because I was dressed this way or I looked young. And guess what? I tipped them extra. Because I believe that we all are born with a good heart. But people are certain ways because of their environment or not a matter of choice, right? So I tipped them extra, but they don't know this. Now my goal this year is to buy the restaurant. When I buy that restaurant, I'm going to talk to them as not as a patron. I'm going to talk to them as a human being, as their coworker. So I recently, this is the way I think. And then you know what? When I think of these things, my wife says, you're so crazy. They gave us such a bad experience. Why would you tip them extra? Why would you want to buy the restaurant? I said, I want to get to know this person. Why are they so mean? Why are they so rude? But it's okay. You treat them kind because I believe in karma. Kindness will come back.
So Rick, when you buy the restaurant, tell me where is it? I'm going to visit New York and you're going to bring me there. I'm not paying.
Sure.
All right. So I'm going to see you, Rick, in June. I'm definitely coming to the annual meeting. I'll be speaking at... It's June annual meeting. Hey, remember to register your MDRT, your TOT
Okay,
qualification.
Yeah.
Okay.
I last year I totally forgot, and MDRT charging me a late fee. But this time I remember because my good friend Lim is very responsible, and I signed up, and I will see all of you in June. Is it in Boston this year? Boston, Massachusetts, in the USA?
Yeah, it's so near to New York. I'm seeing you, man. I'm coming to see you. Can I bunk in your
Awesome.
house?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I can't wait to see all our audience in person too.
Yep, I'm gonna come and see you. Rick is in Boston. I'm gonna drive down to New York and see you. We're gonna see each other in Boston first. Have lots of thoughts. Have lots of food and all. You know, I will try to run with you.
I've never met you in person. I've
Yeah,
only
yeah,
met you virtually, and now we're like really good friends. See,
yep,
that's why I say you get to meet someone in person. You can still have such a good friendship and close relationship.
yep, yep. That's the thing. It's great. It's great to see all of you here. If Rick is going to have lunch with you, please pay 2,000 per hour. Rick will pay me 2,000 per hour. I will pay the restaurant. All right. Thanks. For those who likes our show, please share this. I ask you to just share in your Facebook page, Facebook account, so that everybody can see it. All your agents can see it. If you love what we do, please like our page as well. Follow in our podcast. You will be able to revisit all this show every week. So thank you, Rick, for your time. It is amazing. It is such an amazing experience to actually talk to you and have this conversation deep every hour. And I really look forward to see you in person, Rick. I'm going to give you a big, big hug, okay?
The feelings are mutual. I enjoy hanging out with you and all our audience every single month. Super excited.
Yeah. So thank you to all the audience, and you guys are great. And today I've seen some of my clients actually came to see the show. I saw some of their name popped out. I said, okay, this guy. All right. So anyway, thank you so much for coming to the show. We are 5 minutes late from going off. So thank you again, and that's it. Bye. I'll see you guys. Rick, please say bye.
Bye. Have a great month. See you all in March at our next show. Even better. Bye-bye.
Bye.